Hi guys, welcome back to Spark to Sport for the second installment of the day. So, just before we start, a little bit of housekeeping, please. Just make sure to have your microphone on mute and your camera off, please. If you wish to ask any question, you can do so by pressing the button Show Conversation and type up your question in the dedicated section. In case you have not been able to attend some of the talks, if you can access all the previous talks via the UCC Sports YouTube channel. So this afternoon we have not only one but two extremely talented guests. Mary FitzGerald from Kilkenny. She is a second-year occupational therapy student in UCC. She mainly competes in the shot put category, but also javelin and discus, and holds the Irish record in all three of her events. My other guest, Paddy Cadell, is a 20-year-old third-year law student and a senior hurler for UCC and Tipperary, and they are both scholars of the prestigious Quercus Talented Students Program. Welcome to the webinar, guys. How are you? And just to start it up a little bit, I know that both of you were roommate when we were sharing a flat last year. Did you talk about this All-Ireland final?
Yeah. I suppose, no, being from Kilkenny and then with Paddy being from Tipperary, I suppose the better team won in the day. Definitely, I have to hand it to them, yeah.
So can you just maybe give us a little bit of a context of what you are doing at the moment, and more specifically, what are you aiming for? So I don't know, would you want to start with your Mary maybe, and then we can move to Paddy?
Sure, yeah. So up until the lockdown, I was hoping to qualify for the Tokyo Paralympics later on this year. So naturally, with the postponement of the Tokyo Paralympics, that changed a whole lot of things. So with the closure of so many venues and facilities, definitely you have to adapt your way of training. You've had to adapt how you're training because you're not planning to peak for possibly the biggest competition of your life later on in the season. So personally, I'm focusing more on strength for the moment, and I suppose I'm looking at a new technique which I wouldn't be doing if Tokyo was this coming August. And I suppose so trying to see the opportunity with the postponement. It is a disappointment, but you're trying to see the opportunity.
And what about you, Paddy? Paddy, can you hear me? I'm not sure if he's online. Paddy?
Do you want a message?
Are you there?
Why?
No, I don't know. I can't hear him. Seems to have some IT issue. Look, we'll keep moving on.
I think you should message and say no volume here. Maybe turn off did you disconnect them?
No, not there. Okay, we'll keep moving on. I read in an article that you changed your back garden. Am I right?
Yeah, so thankfully with shot put, I can basically make concrete area. I can throw from there. So basically, I've converted a concrete area in my backyard into a shot put circle, and that's where I'm training 6 days a week. So thankfully, I've been able to keep up the same volume of training. So, but the only thing, so naturally, it's not at an athletics track, which I suppose it has its disadvantages. I suppose you're not training in the venue that you will be competing in, but thankfully I'm able to train the same volume, and I'm able to do my gym sessions at home as well, which is great. Same volume of gym sessions. It's also different in that my coach isn't there with me, and he's not there beside me, but thankfully we've been able to train over Zoom. So basically I set up my laptop, and he observes my coach observes all of my session, and he points out things that I need to work on, and thankfully it worked out very well. It's kind of become the new norm really over the past 2 weeks. You're kind of getting used to it. It feels like ages since I trained at a proper shot put venue, and feels like ages since I've met my coach in person, but thankfully I'm very fortunate that I've been able to train. Yeah.
So is it weird to do a throw practice with your laptop and your coach looking at you via webcam?
Yeah, when we were getting used to it in the beginning, like we were trying to get things right, like trying to see what angle, for example, he would watch my throw from and stuff like that. And usually we would record my throw over like on camera or whatever, and we play it back in slow motion. But so he can do the same thing. So he records, he takes a screen recording, and we look back and we analyze it and look at what at things we can improve in. But so naturally, with a slight delay over a video call, it's sometimes challenging, or if there's a slight technical issue or a glitch or something like that. But thankfully it has worked very well.
Okay. We're gonna try with Paddy. Paddy, can you hear us? Can you maybe turn on your camera and your microphone, if you're still there? No, doesn't seem still to be working. Look, if you pop in anytime you want, and feel free to, come into the conversation. Look, this new setting of, training in your back garden, having a coach on a webcam, this new habit, new behavior to develop, and we don't know how long it is going to happen, or we don't know how long you're going to keep training in your back garden.
Yeah.
And so I guess you need a very specific type of focus every single day. And so when you feel, one day is like, oh, I don't feel like training. What am I doing that for? I don't know when I'm going to compete. So what do you do? What is your plan to keep your mindset sharp and focused?
Yeah, I suppose, definitely. There are some days where I might have a lack of motivation. I suppose you kind of think at this stage, what would you be doing at this stage of the year typically? So I'm kind of thinking, oh, I would have had the universities, or I would have been on a training camp, and you're kind of thinking, you're missing so many of these competitions. Like usually at this stage in the year, I would have competed 6 times. Mm-hmm. So to not have any competitions, you're kind of wondering. Sometimes you're wondering what are you working towards, and like competitions are nice in that you like to count down to them. Okay, this is my time. This is where I can prove myself. These competitions are where you can see the rewards of all that hard work you put into your training. And I suppose when competitions aren't there, yes, it has an impact on your motivation. But I suppose personally, sport is my passion, really. I suppose some people, I suppose I feel I definitely have a passion for my sport. And I suppose that's what keeps me going. I just kind of think back, why did I begin this in the first place? I didn't come all the way to this point just to only come this far. Like this is only the start for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Paddy, you're back. I think you're on mute. You're on mute. Just press the unmute button. That's it. Hey, you're back. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. Had problems there. How's things?
Good. So same question that I asked Mary. What is your new normal? I mean, all the GEA pitches are closed. We don't know if you're going to have a championship this season. We don't know when GEA is going to go back. So what is the new normal for you?
Yeah, my new normal, I suppose, it's probably been over 2 months now since the lockdown really came in and GEA pitches were closed. So a lot of it was being in touch with the Tipperary camp for the first while. So even at the start, we were hoping more so, being optimistic, but realistically we knew that the championship wasn't going to start on the 10th of May, which it was first scheduled for, but the plan was to prepare as best we could for that. So when we got back into training, the Tipperary team were excellent with us. The S&C coach had a plan in place. We were training, I suppose we were training a lot because it was a great chance to, a lot of lads weren't working whereas they normally would have been. So they got a great chance to have the time off but train as well. So we were in the gym a lot. We were 3 times a week, and I suppose it was up to ourselves really to have gym equipment in place for us. But a lot of the local clubs were very good to us in loaning a lot of equipment to us. So really we had to find a piece of grass within your 2 kilometers. That's where we could do our training. We had to find a wall ball where we did 1 hurling session a week, and then the gym equipment then as well. So we were training fairly flat out for a while, but as the restrictions came in, we tapered it back a good bit. And over the last while, I suppose it's been great around the house. There's been, my whole family are here. So we've had a lot of time together, and we train together, exercise together. And then I suppose the new normal is just being able to relax a small bit more and enjoy the things that you wouldn't be able to when everything is so flat out with work or college and that.
And you know, I will ask you the same question I asked Mary just a minute ago. What do you do when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm feeling it today. This is not working today. It's like, you know, the envy, the desire is not overly there. Do you have some kind of framework to help you to reshift your focus and to be, okay, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, so obviously them days can come because we're so used to training in pods and obviously a panel of 40, so you know where to be, and obviously you can get a boost from other lads as well, but it is tougher when you're training on your own sometimes. And then obviously I suppose you have to hold yourself accountable. But when I wake up in the morning, I usually go through a routine and I have a schedule. So when I wake up, I'll do a morning mobility routine kind of to get the body moving. But if there's ever a gym session or a running session that I'm kind of struggling to do, there's I always say maybe I'll do the first set of it, or maybe I'll do a warm up for 10 minutes. And even after a warm up for 10 minutes, your whole mindset will change. You'll definitely get into feeling it and actually looking forward to the session, even though when you're sitting down or lying in bed, maybe that's the last thing you want to do. But yeah, I suppose the timer for 10 minutes of a warm up definitely helps me anyway.
And over the past, I mean, we've been in lockdown now. We've been restricting in our ability to go outside and to move around for the past couple of months. Have you both developed some kind of new behavior that's improved on your life? That, you know, maybe before the lockdown, you didn't think about it, and then suddenly like, oh yeah, this really improved my quality of life. I don't know. We'll start maybe with Mary.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like Paddy was saying, when you're in the middle of a hectic schedule between college or work and then like gym sessions or training sessions, you're so busy, like it's nonstop going. But I suppose I've really seen the benefits of recovery during this time. So I've really been able to pay attention to my recovery after sessions, and then cool downs and stuff like that, and stretching after sessions. And I feel that has really benefited me. So I've got kind of a first kind of hand experience of the benefits of it. And I feel that will in turn benefit me when we eventually get out of this lockdown. So I suppose, so within these restrictions, I suppose, yeah, you learn so much about yourself.
Okay. What about you, Paddy?
Yeah, definitely. Like Mary said, you do have more time to, I suppose you have more time to relax and focus on things. It's a great chance to focus on things that you're not able to focus on while rushing to college, rushing to training. When I was on placement, it was quite a rush, but definitely now the actual act of mindfulness, our strength and conditioning coach is a big advocate for mindfulness, and he said just try incorporate 10 minutes into your morning routine, and something I do after my mobility every morning. And I suppose it's just there's so many different varieties of it, but it's just being able to relax, put a schedule together, and I suppose be more mindful for what's going to happen that day, what you want to achieve that day, and I suppose the benefits you'll get from it.
Yeah, and earlier on I was doing a webinar with Joe Normo, a physio, and he was mentioning as well this ability. I mean, this lockdown maybe pushes people to be a little bit more aware of their body, what is happening in their life every single day. And I think mindfulness before the lockdown was really, you know, a hot topic. And I think even more during the lockdown, mindfulness really helped to be more aware of what is happening. And my next question is more or less because you are both very successful student athletes. I mean, you're combining academics and sport and try to achieve a pile of really exciting stuff. But who do you think of when you hear the word successful in your mind? So if you hear the word success, who do you associate success with? Paddy, do you want to start with? We'll start with you.
I suppose there's a number of people that I associate with success. But then again, it's difficult to define success. What one person might think is successful, another might see that as something else. So, I suppose after watching some Netflix documentaries, the person that I've been looking at and have been amazed at over the last while have been Michael Jordan and The Last Dance. So I suppose that is obviously success from where the Chicago Bulls came from to be quite, I suppose they wouldn't have been a successful team before, but to win 3 in a row on twice, I suppose, that's massively successful. But then I suppose the stages that he went through to get to that was quite phenomenal.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Michael Jordan is quite an incredible athlete. And when you look around his performance, he was never the one who was satisfied what he was accomplishing. He was always the one saying, okay, this is not enough. You know, I missed, even if I won that many cups or that many championships, I missed those shots. And I need to work on that. And he had a very, very specific mindset of being never satisfied of what he was doing. But what about you, Mary? What is, when you hear the word successful, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I suppose, I would have to say possibly the first name that comes to mind out of so many amazing people is probably Usain Bolt. I suppose just being, even though naturally I'm not a sprinter and he's not a shot putter, but I suppose, I suppose being so successful and so dedicated and so consistent over a considerable period of time. And I suppose, so dedicated and disciplined as well. I think when you have so much discipline, like competing at that level for such a period of time, the discipline that requires. And I suppose,
And you talked about discipline and you talked about achieving, and you're both student athletes and you're both in UCC and part of the Quercus Sports Scholarships program. And honestly, how is it for you to be a student athlete? Try to combine both being a student and being an athlete, because at time I guess you'll be an athlete student, not a student athlete. And how is it for you to, I know, Paddy, you are doing an internship this year. Mary had, some kind of placement and then some study to do and trying to combine both. Do you find it stressful at time? Is it easy to manage? Let's say we start, I don't know, whoever wants to start.
Sure,
yeah. So I suppose this year I was able to see both sides of it. So my third year of my law degree was a placement. So that entailed working from the start of September to the end of March, and the last 2 weeks of that was cut off due to the coronavirus. But I suppose for the first 2 years of study, I found that it was my workload through sport was a lot more manageable than it was this year, because with law it tends to be very few hours a week, which means that I was able to train and then study at times when I found that it suited my schedule the best. So I was able to do a lot of study during the morning, get to my lectures throughout the day, and then go training in the evening time. Whereas with work, I just found it was a lot busier. I was up early in the morning. I had to be a lot more prepared for the day with my nutrition, as well as how I physically felt with my body. But I was lucky to be involved in a big law firm in Cork called Matheson, and they were exceptional to me. I suppose they were aware that I was working as hard as I could, but I needed time off because I was so busy with a hectic hurling schedule as well. But then in that case, I was able to stay later in the evenings when I didn't have training, and maybe have to duck off half an hour to an hour earlier. Sometimes when I had to get back to Thurles for training. But overall, with their help, I found it quite manageable. But I'm looking forward to going back. Well, hopefully, if it happens, if I go back and study in 4th year, and I'll be able to work my training schedule around my lectures, and that small bit better.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Mary?
Yeah, I suppose it can be like definitely hectic when you're trying to like balance your study and your training, especially when there's a big competition coming up or exams coming up. But I suppose you kind of think like I suppose I have a huge interest in occupational therapy and sport is my passion. So I suppose I could decide, do I want to park my studies for a while, or do I want to pursue my sport full time? But I suppose I feel they complement each other really well. I suppose you can go off for, like I said, you can go off for a session in the morning and you might feel like getting up at 6:30 in the morning for a gym session, but you feel far better and it definitely benefits your study. Like I said, you go for your gym session and you go for your lectures, and then you might have a training session in the evening, and I feel then you would feel really good after a training session, and that would have a positive impact on your study as well. And I suppose, yeah, there are some, like when you're in the thick of study coming up to exams, it's great to just go out for a session, clear your mind, and I think, yeah, that's a huge benefit of sport. Yeah, definitely.
And so you've been student athlete now for a couple of years. You've been in UCC for a couple of years. And if you had to give only one advice to a fresher coming to UCC next year in September, what would you say to him or her? Whoever.
Whether in sport or wondering what course you want to pursue, I suppose do what you love, do whatever you have a passion for, follow. If you have a passion for hurling, athletics, swimming, rugby, follow your passion, because if you enjoy what you do, that will hugely help you. Like that will really help you, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, like that will have an impact on your performance. And I suppose, yeah, pick a course you enjoy and follow a sport follow the sport you want to follow. Yeah.
What about you, Paddy?
Yeah, that's definitely it. I think Mary kind of has nailed it in one there, but even if you're unsure what activities you like or what form of exercise, there's so many amazing courses and groups, activities, different sports in UCC that you can throw yourself into any of them, and you'll definitely find one that you love. There's some great organizations throughout UCC that help you with that as well. And I suppose just throw yourself into as many things as you can. Work hard at your studies, and obviously then just enjoy, and you'll make a huge amount of friends throughout in your course, and then in the activities that you're pursuing as well.
Okay. And look, I'm just going to finish this interview with one very straight question to both of you. Hate to lose or love to win? Mary, how are you thinking?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, the winning in sport, definitely it's one of the many reasons why you get involved in sport. And I suppose I suppose anyone hates to lose, but I suppose the way you react to a loss is, like, that's huge in determining the future. Like, you can learn so much from a loss, and as much as I am disappointed when I lose or when I get a horrible result at a competition, it only drives me on further to want to be successful the next time.
Wow, thank you. Great answer. Thank you. Paddy, no pressure.
Yeah, I suppose that's a tough one. I've never been asked that before, but I think that feeling of winning, and then in hurling, there can only be one of two winners, but I think that feeling of winning, I think nothing equals it. When you have that moment at the end of a match, I suppose the tight matches really, and you can just look around at your teammates and knowing that you won. For me, it's the most special feeling that one can achieve, and I think that's why you do train. When you lose, it's a horrible feeling, and especially if you feel that you didn't leave everything out there. But I think, like Mary said, that when you lose, you have to learn, or else there's no point. So I think that's it. Yeah, that winning is the most special feeling, especially when you come out on top at the end of a championship and know that you're the best. I think that's something special.
Okay, well, guys, thank you. We're going to leave it there. There's one question. One more question. Do you think, especially you, Paddy, do you think playing next year without a crowd, without supporters around you, without having fans around you, do you think it will make a difference?
Yeah, I definitely think it would make a massive difference to the spectacle of the game. If you watch the Bundesliga, that was on last weekend, and Dortmund have such a special following that they fill out their stadium every time they play at home with 80,000, and that's the same number that you fit into Croke Park. So, like watching them, they scored, they missed, there was still no noise. Yeah, it's crazy to imagine that it was only a few months ago that we were lucky enough to win a FitzGerald Cup final with a massive crowd and a huge number of UCC supporters and family flooding onto the pitch and celebrating with us. That now we're looking at matches without a crowd, and in my own opinion, I suppose I don't think it would be the same at all. There's been a lot of people speaking whether they're for or against it, and I think having hurling back in general would be a massive boost to the public. But when you look at a full Croke Park or a full Semple Stadium during the Munster Championship, I don't think there's not that much that can equal the roar that can happen when a goal goes in one end or there's a winning point. So I don't think a match behind closed doors could be anything near what the spectacle that we've been lucky enough to enjoy and maybe have taken for granted over the last number of years.
But Mary, I know was a couple of months ago you were in Doha competing.
In Dubai.
Yeah, in Dubai, sorry. And the stadium was pretty full. How would it be for you to compete with nobody there, nobody in the stands?
Yeah, like Paddy said, it would be very different naturally. Like especially when you go to your first big competition, like it's so different when you're going into a packed stadium, the atmosphere, the music, the loud noise, the crowds cheering, so much going on. And I suppose to compete in an empty stadium, yes, that would be very different. I understand that they're trying to get sport up and running, and I see where organisers are coming from, but it definitely wouldn't be the same. But I understand that it may be the way forward for a good while with everything going on. But I suppose, it's hard to know. It definitely won't be the same, but it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, look, I'm sure it's like everything in stages. We will have sport without crowd. I think it will be a first step, but I think down the line, hopefully, I don't know when, we will probably have a vaccine, and then crowd will be able to come back to a hurling season or to a pitch near you to watch some sport. Guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Thanks for taking the time to take part in it. I hope you'll have a good afternoon, and I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. Talk soon. Bye.
See you later.